Alright guys, sorry, we're catching up to it now because I was spending too much time talking about the previous game. But Jon Snow, or Jon Slow, is playing as the Incas in Game 3 in the blue, and then in the red, Dracont is playing as the Britons. Wow. You know what? I don't think Britons are at a huge disadvantage here, but they could be at a disadvantage depending on how this plays out. I love this, though, because I think that Britons have an advantage in Castle Age because they have the cheaper TCs and they have the crossbow range. But I think Incas in late game... Actually, I was going to say Incas in late game have the upper hands, but that's not necessarily the case either, depending on how this goes for Britons. Let's talk about the maps, and then I will give my long rant about the amazing matchups we can see between these two civs. So, Jon has a forward main gold. He has a stone here. This one's also exposed. But I think that would be fine for him considering he has 2 golds in the back. If he was not comfortable going to the forward one, he can just start back here. No problem. A lot of space for a boom as well. Has the 4 deer in lowerable distance. I'd say this is overall a pretty standard, solid map for Jon Slow. Then you look at Dracont's base. Dracont has main gold on the back. Has no other golds in this back corner. Does have the Deerkin lore, main stone, and secondary gold, but his other resources are all outside of his walls. Relics are pretty fair. The secondary resources, or the neutral resources, are not that fair because this seems to be closer to Dracont, and that's been my criticism of him, that he didn't go out to those areas early enough. But there is another neutral gold closer to Jon Snow. 2 relics on the north, 3 on the south. I can't quite tell what this minimap looks like. I'm sure you guys can help me out. Okay, so assuming we are going to see both of them go to Castle Age and fight this one out, these are the advantages the civilizations have. Dracont, starting in Castle Age, his archers have +1 range. So with Bodkin Arrow on his crossbows, he's going to have 8 range. We've seen it many times. Players who are good at micro can even beat Eagle Warriors on Arena with the crossbows. Other thing is they have a pretty strong boom because their town centers are cheaper. So they can afford, because of the cheaper town centers, to go with crossbows and to also go with extra town centers. Now, if this goes to Imp, of course, there could be a struggle versus the Eagle Warriors from the Incas, but Britons do get champions. So if this goes super late game, we could see champion Longbow, champion Arbalest with Britons. I think that's going to have to be the ideal composition for them. So I think the important thing, if you're Britons, is, well, actually both players, is that you get very good early engagements and you stop their crossbows or their Eagle Warriors from snowballing. And also, I think it'd be a bad idea to not get map control in Castle Age, because we could just see a full boom. I think you need to start the momentum rolling before the big attacks start. Jon Slow struggling with that boar, but all is well. We could talk about the Incas now. So, one thing we're not going to see here is that the villagers are affected by blacksmith upgrades. That doesn't really play a huge part. I'll show you the tech tree because this civ's relatively new. Start with the free llama, which helps the eco. But late game, buildings cost 15% less stone, so we could see more castles. The couriers is a big one. Cameo, slingers, and eagles have the extra armor, so that would help in the eagle fights. And if we do see champions from the Briton player, we can see Slinger, which is basically a hand cannoneer for the Incas. I think they're actually slightly better. So there's a lot of cool counters we could see in this matchup, depending on how this plays out. So let me ask everybody here in the Twitch chat, and YouTube, you can chime in as well later on. What civilization would you prefer, considering these factors? Personally, I would prefer the Britons, honestly. But that's just because my style of play is suited more towards micro. And I would like to use the crossbows in early Castle Age to pester this gold. But it's so different than Arabia. Because you guys know about the strength of the Eagle Warriors in Arabia. We've seen it. 2 to 3 barracks, 1 TC, just spamming Eagle Warriors, and then Britons would struggle. But on Arena, it is so different. Normally, you're not going to be able to afford, with a fast castle, to go with 2 to 3 barrack Eagle Warriors. So I think the Eagles will be less successful in early to mid Castle Age for Jon Snow. Okay, so chat seems kind of undecided. Or split, anyway. If you're talking late game, see, I'm just trying to, I'm trying to point out a few things. Like, sure, the Inca Eagles have incredible pierce armor, but I think that the Britons can do damage before that if they go for the barracks archery range blacksmith. Actually, it's not what we're going to see from Drakon, but let's say that he were to go with an early archery range, get Bodkin Arrow, have about 10 crossbows. Jon Snow would maybe go for a barracks, but definitely not 2. And I think with the range of the crossbows, you'd micro down every single eagle in the Castle Age. But if we're talking late game, I can make an argument for both because the Briton champion's really strong. I don't know. This is exciting. This is exciting. I could just talk without even watching the game about what could potentially happen for hours and hours and hours. But this is really confusing for me. It looks like Drakon wants to go for a castle. So I guess he's going to go for that defensive castle on the front. Yeah, I think more than likely we would see a siege workshop out of Jon Snow and a boom. He's probably not going to add Eagle Warriors. He'd probably go with either a town center here and no Mangonel, or go for an early Mangonel to protect. But they don't know what's going on behind each other's walls, so they have to be aware of the possibilities. Blacksmith market for Drakon, and I guess we might see a few longbows in castle. But huge head start to the Castle Age for Jon Snow because he didn't go on stone to build a castle. His economy is more set towards the standard stuff here. And the standard stuff probably going to be a boom for him. So good scouting from Jon Snow. Drakon just now getting around to scouting, gonna find out where his opponent is. Played a 2-hour long Arabia game, Brits versus Incas the other day. Brit champs are good. Yeah, Britain champions have full upgrades, right? So they're fantastic. They have fantastic champions. And I think that it's a solid mix to go, or it's a better mix to go champions longbowmen or champions arbalests than eagle warriors and slingers. I think it's a lot better to have the Britons combo. But it depends how the game pans out leading up to that point. I would say that Drakon's decision here makes me think that he's scared there's going to be an early push from Jon Snow. Or he just wants to boom forever, but this is actually going to slow down his Castle Age boom a lot to go with the castle build. Or we could see something ballsy, and if he spots his main gold, he could go forward to build that castle. It's such a risk. But he hasn't seen any additional eagles from Jon Snow yet. Let's go! He's going for the castle drop. 2k plus castle drop. It's so rare to see this, guys. It is so rare to see this. Because players normally spot it and they stop it. But he's going for a forward castle drop. Okay, this changes things. This is not what I was expecting. I guess Jon Snow is just worried about scouting his base, going for 3 town centers. Now, the downside for Drakon, and the reason I don't completely agree with this decision, this is what he sees. Secondary gold, no. Secondary gold, no. Secondary gold, no. So that means the other golds are probably inside Jon Snow's base. So Jon Snow's going to have a stronger economy, and he just needs to hold now, as the pressure will come in from Drakon. Oh my word.
You know what? This time not $5, not $10, but $50. Don't spend it all in one place. Alright,
Nivida, I will not spend it all in one place. Thank you so much. I'm kind of pissed that the the gifts aren't showing. But thank you so much for the 50 bucks, man. Now I'm gonna have Careless Whispers stuck in my head. Back to the game now. Jon Snow is gonna leave this area. He's gonna go back to his other golds, and he's gonna build the Siege Workshop. And longbow hype, chat. Longbow hype. Drakant surprising me with this strategy choice. Going to his second town center. Maybe he could still go for his third. But he wants to pressure with longbows. He does have fletching. We'll probably get through this wall before you know it. And with one scout and with longbow range, maybe Jon Snow will struggle with Mangonel defense. Needs to be careful now. And Drakant getting Bodcanera. I really like this approach. I really like this approach from Drakant. Not necessarily saying it's the best thing in the world to do. I just think it's fun. The scout going to go after the monk. And scout picked off the monk. Longbow's picking off the other monk. Great engagement to start for Drakant. Only one Mangonel for Jon Snow. He doesn't have the gold. He's just sold the wood for the gold for the next one. And it's 8 range on these longbows, guys. Jon Snow definitely needs to wall within his base. Just in case he screws up with his micro. Loses the Mangonel. Doesn't want the longbows picking off his villagers. The cool thing about Drakant's approach is that he isn't going all in on one town center. If I can get back to the main part of the overlay. Which I will eventually, I promise you. It will show you that Drakant is not too far behind in vills after doing this. So it was not a huge risk. Come on, overlay. Come on, man. Overlay is definitely a man. Oh, there we go. Drakant is 5 vills behind. And that's it. And I'd say it's worth it to take away your opponent's main gold, to have 3 TCs at home. Good offensive presence. I'd say it's worth it. And he's going to kill villagers of Jon Snow's if he's not careful. And now we have barracks being added. Jon Snow doesn't want to allow Drakant to have this map control. Maybe he will add the Eagle Warriors. I'd like to see Yeoman in Castle Age. I think it'd be too much of an investment now, but I'd like to see that research now that I know that's possible. At some point, I'd like to see longbows with Yeoman in Castle Age. So, Jon Snow, just missing there. He's going to try and push this castle back, and Drakant currently does not know what's in the Siege Workshop. He probably assumes it's a Mangonel. Now, if he's thinking about it, he could say, I ran in rather close to that Siege Workshop, and he didn't send a Mangonel at me. So, it's probably battering rams, and I need to have a Siege Workshop myself. But for now, he's just using the longbows and his range to pick off these Mangonels. He's getting very close, but he doesn't seem to have the numbers. Let's see the eagle numbers for Jon Snow. He's massing them now. Just researched Elite Eagle Warrior. Or, no, sorry, just regular Eagle Warrior. Drakant with a booming economy at home. I don't think Drakant wins the game with this particular push. I think he wins the game if he holds this for a long period of time. And then goes to Imp and pushes back. It seems like Drakant will lose this castle. Once the Eagle Warriors come out and there's multiple Mangonels and Rams, Drakant will probably lose this castle. I think he needs to use his military wisely here. And nice repairs from Jon Snow. Also, equally good micro for Drakant. He hasn't lost any of these units yet. No defense upgrades on the Eagles. It's expensive to do this. So as of now, if they run out, the longbows could pick them off. But with the Rams and with the Mangonels, this is going to be pretty exciting. So much micro from Drakant. Very impressive. Stop! I jinxed him! I jinxed him! It finally kills a Mangonel, but he's lost 4 longbows. 66 villagers now for Drakant. Keep in mind, he's probably going to click to Imp. Look at those resources for him. Meanwhile, we are going to see a castle push from John Slow. And John Slow will have another Mangonel available in the Siege Workshop in a moment. Oh! He missed it! Is he gonna miss it again? The micro from Drakant, unreal to pick off that Mangonel. Freaked me out, guys. Freaked me out. And again, we need a T90 Jinx emote. Like, seriously, every single time I compliment someone nowadays, they then fail afterwards. But still, it could have been a lot worse for him. He's on his way up. I think Drakant is going to add barracks, and he will go for champion straight out the gate here. Drakant does not see the barracks. He sees the Siege Workshop. So that's it. Very nice splits from him. But John Slow is always here to repair it. If John Slow waits too long, he's gonna be in trouble once the champions show up. Oh! Kill the repair villas, Drakant. Come on, let's see your micro. Kill the repair villas. He's scared because of this Siege Workshop. He doesn't know what's in here. In fact, I'm surprised he's been microing next to this for so long. Look at this! Well played, Drakant. Now the battering rams are coming out. Split away from the Mangonel. No! Oh, and he's building the barracks forward as well. Oh, no, 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 no. I currently have a throw emote being made that will be active for the 24-hour stream most likely. This is the worst spot to build these. If you assume that he's going battering rams, you can assume that your castle's probably gonna fall. Don't build your production buildings forward, because the Eagle Warriors will find you and they will kill you. Build it back at home. You're fine back at home, dude. You have all these resources. Do not go here with your production buildings. Now, still, it might be fine. It might be fine, chat. But the fact is that these villagers will probably die. This... Oh, no. Drakant. Dude, delete the castle. Thank you. He has 4 barracks for now. But that's a lot of Eagle Warriors. And also, John Slow could add slingers. And John Slow could use that siege tower and ungarrison over the wall. And luckily for Drakant, his villagers are fast enough to get back to the base. And he'll have enough stone for a castle. He's fine. He's fine. Longswords being massed. Will be two-handed swordsmen soon. This is definitely the time for Jon Snow to siege tower over. How freaking hilarious and how freaking clutch would it be if this castle gets denied by these Eagle Warriors? Don't tell me. This is Drakant's point of view. He's gonna quick wall behind the battering ram so he can get the castle up. And now the Eagles from Jon Slow. That's brilliant. That is brilliant. Oh, man. This is such a curse-lit T95 moment. It has all gone wrong for Drakant, man. Oh, the castle denied at 68%. 69% now. Oh, my goodness. That was so freaking clutch. That was so clutch. The two-handed swordsmen are out here. They are going to clean up these Eagle Warriors. But that was just devastating from Jon Slow. Holy crap. So well timed at both moments to stop the barracks, to stop this castle. Drakant just quickly walling up in his base. And he's sending the two-handed swordsman over. Jon Slow is on the way to Imp, but this is where he can take some big losses. Drakant is still okay because the battering rams will die to the two-handed swordsman. Hold on, are the Eagles gonna... Can they go over houses? Jon Snow is trying to ungarrison over the houses before this dies? I guess they can't go over houses. Yeah, so Drakant has luckily held on, and this game is still going to be very interesting. So, this is what I'm talking about. This is perfect comparison. Jon Slow lost his forward, and he's not building his other production buildings out in the middle of the map. He's building them within his walls. So back at home, he's adding archery ranges for slingers. He might go full slinger to start and then add in Eagle Warriors later. But had Jon Snow sent all of his villagers forward to build that, the same thing would have happened for Jon Snow. So he was a little bit wiser with that decision making. But Dracana still held on. The two-handed swordsman decision was brilliant. He has a lot of resources. He's purchasing another castle. And he was originally going to place it here, but he's going to place it here instead. Also, he sees the slingers. And I think he needs to add archery ranges now. If he adds... He's undecided. If he adds archery ranges, I think that with Arbalest and Champion, which he's researching now, he will have the best composition available. Now, remember, Drakon in previous games did not scout these resources. He has scouted it this time. Jon Slow just now scouting these resources. I think he's going to patrol here to kill villagers when they run out to get those res. But imagine if he knew about this gold. He could already have been here, had a TC or a castle protecting it. He does not know about it. And there are the archery ranges for Drakon. This is an amazing game because we got laughs, but it's still very close, and we get to see the unit compositions I spoke of. So slingers are there to counter the champions, but then the Arbalests will be here to counter the slingers. And then, you know what the counter to the Arbalest is? It is the Elite Eagle Warrior. So this is pretty amazing. The games between these players have been incredibly entertaining. But definitely an opportunity for Drakon to do something now, I think. He can start trebing this down. I'm really happy that Drakon didn't build the castle here, because if he did, Jon Snow could have created trebs and he could have hid behind his walls. Now if Jon Snow wants to create trebuchets to attack this castle, he has to leave the protection of his own castle. Pretty awesome game. Pretty awesome game. Higher population for Drakon. Jon Snow doesn't have a lot of eco going for him right now. Idle TCs half the time. He's gone full slinger, which could be devastating. Drakon obviously is going to see that, so as these slingers attack these buildings, Jon Snow needs to be thinking about the fact that Drakon has the perfect counter. And he knows about the slingers, because he's destroying buildings with the slingers. Wipe down. Thank you for the sub. And thank you for the woo-woo-woo, chat. Why don't they get relics? Well, I feel like while relics are important, and they are working on it, there's so much multitasking involved that it's kind of an early game thing. Now, relics probably are not the deal breaker. It's about the amount of military units you have out on the map. There's Elite Eagle for Jon Snow, so we'll go Elite Eagle versus the Arbalest. Jon Snow defending nicely so far versus these trebuchets. He might kill another one if Drakon's not careful. Here come the slingers. There's a Mangonel here as well. Mangonel won't play a huge part. Jon Snow is holding remarkably well. Well, let's see if Drakon wants to sacrifice his champion so his Arbalest can kill the slingers. He's losing the champions, but the slingers are going to slowly die to these Arbs with the massive range, and then the trebuchets can die to the champions. It's a lot of losses for Drakon, and in the end, it might still be worth it. But this game is neck and neck. Both players dropping below 20 military 41 minutes into the game. And now the castle is actually ranging the Arbs, which only have 10 range, and that's a hold for Jon Snow. He killed the champions, though he did lose a lot of slingers. He's staying alive. But Drakon, he's out here on these extra golds. He's getting the relics. Only one for Jon Snow. And the Eagles really can't do anything. The Britons are so much better. The second the Eagles show up, the champions will shred them. And the Arbalest, they don't do a tremendous amount of damage versus these Eagle Warriors. They're still doing some damage from a long distance away, where they're not being touched. But the benefit of the Eagle Warriors is that they are fast. The champions are slow. And this is just an amazing game of counters now. The Arbalests need to attack the Slingers. Slingers need to attack the champions. Eagles need to attack the Arbalest. There's so much micro involved as Jon Snow still keeps this freaking castle up with the massive amount of repairs and his own trebuchets. He's now killed 4 trebuchets here. Now still, I'd say he is at a disadvantage. He doesn't have the gold he needs. He's been repairing with villagers, but he is staying alive. Unbelievable game here, guys. I told you this would be a cool matchup. Let's look at Dracon's resources. He's lacking the gold. I probably would send a lot of my lumberjacks to gold if I were him at the moment. And now, oh! This is a sick play. Look at the walls from Jon Snow. He's walling in his trebuchets so he can kill Dracon's castle. And Drakon is researching conscription, which would allow his units to be created faster. And this is going to be very close. I think he'll just get it. Yeah, he's just going to get that upgrade, luckily for him. Shulker, welcome to the stream, dude. You are joining at an excellent time. This is the first time that Jon Snow is going to realize there's gold here. If he continues down this way, he will realize there's more resources. Slingers and Eagle Warriors versus Arbalests and Champions. Everyone's still getting eco upgrades. Everyone still getting all sorts of upgrades, whether it's eco or military. It's just non-stop at the moment. Drakon losing 1 villager. See, that's why you only send 1 villager to gold, kids. So you only lose 1 when you get found out. Yeah, Drakon is sending more. And Jon Snow needs to be careful not to trap himself, because the champions are going to chase these eagles down. But the cool thing is, if Jon Snow pays attention, he can kill villagers and then just run away with his speed. That's the thing about Britons. They're very slow civilization, and they want to be fighting in one spot. If they can't deal with this, villagers are going to drop, and then the eagles can just run away. So in a straight-up fight, Britons win every time. But if you're using your speed as the Inca player, then it's completely different. And that's exactly what Jon Snow has done so far. And he's getting access to some gold now. The 2 relics for both players, by the way. The one to the north of the map has not been collected yet. The Eagle Warriors do not yet have full upgrades. They're lacking that last attack upgrade. The Slingers are incredibly strong. $68 military for Drakon versus only 40 from Jon Snow. And again, while I think the Slingers are normally good versus infantry, they're not as good versus Britons because the Britons have that insane range. But we've seen it before. Drakon is fighting with the champions in front, and he's not using his Arbalests effectively. I think he just patrolled into the military building here. Oh, this champion's killing all these villas. This is actually huge if that doesn't get found out. And this is exactly what Drakon wants. He wants to be in this area of the map. Force the fight here. No extra eco rating going on for Jon Snow right now because he cannot afford to do so. How many times has Jon Snow used Trebs today to change a fight? I think he's going to fight with these trebuchets. The kill-death ratio is close. The population is close. 60+ military for both players. 130 kills for Jon Snow. 127 losses. And he's... You can make the joke about Jon Snow all you want, but his micro has actually been good here. How is this gonna go? Jon Snow killed a lot of Arbalests, but he's gonna lose eagles in the process. But at the same time, the Slingers are on the left-hand side chewing up the champions. I think the champions and the eagles have kind of been canceled out from both players. I was not expecting such a huge commitment there by Jon Snow in that fight. And still so close here. I think that was a bad engagement from Jon Snow because there were so many champions. I think the infantry units are more important for both, so maybe losing those Eagle Warriors is not worth it, especially because of the gold cost attached to them. You should explain that patrolling makes faster attack happen, right? What do you mean faster attack happen? For those that don't know what patrol means, if you set a group of units on patrol, you click to a certain area with patrol, and the first thing they encounter, they attack. So with ranged units, it can be tough sometimes when there's buildings like this because you will patrol into buildings. But yeah, it's much faster much easier to do a patrol to attack. That way you can focus on other things. About 800 gold for both players. Jon Snow is stretched for food though. 180 pop for him. This is an incredible game of Age of Empires 2. If this doesn't excite you for Masters of Arena 5, I don't know what will. See, I think this engagement started off slightly better for Drakon because the champions got such a good surround on the Eagle Warriors. And the Arbs are doing a decent amount of damage to even the Eagles with these numbers. It's tough because against Briton range, Slingers only have 8 range. You're forced to run towards a unit that is hitting you time and time again when you're not even close to it. So the archers are actually stronger in this situation because they're getting more hits in. And now we have the castle from Drakon. If this castle goes up, that might just be the finishing move. So many Arbalests, 11 range now with Yeoman. Full upgrades on the champions, and this castle will deny this gold. And though Drakon struggled in previous games with his map awareness, he's definitely doing better now. He also got that relic to the north earlier. And oh, we have a town center here for Jon Snow. And the Eagle Warriors, don't tell me he's gonna stop this. I doubt he'll be able to stop this. Yeah, he's not gonna stop it. The castle's gonna go up. Jon Snow calling the GG. What a crazy game, guys. That was so amazing. We got to see pressure in every single age, well, in Castle Age, in a way that I really didn't predict in my commentary. And while it was sloppy from Drakon, and it could have been a lot easier for him, he did pretty much everything right. His big mistake was building his barracks here. I think he should have built them inside his base. And one could make an argument that if he did that, he would have had the production of longswords at that time to stop the Eagle Warriors from the siege tower. The siege tower was absolutely amazing. It was perfect timing. I mean, Jon Snow came out here, kills the castle after killing some of the longbows, then immediately spams a mess of rams and siege towers over. That was top stuff there. I don't know what more you can say about that game except that was amazing. That was one of the best arena games I've seen in quite a long time, as far as standard play goes. And then Drakon just basically had to hold later on. I mean, they both took good engagements. The KD was pretty close, but he had to hold those extra golds. That's one thing. I know everyone knows who Viper is, so Viper, for example, that's one thing that wins games. Right there. In close games, securing those extra resources, whether it's Arabia or Arena, wins you the game. And in the Arabia tournament, I was watching Viper and Leary Rex offline, and they would go out to those golds at like between the 30 to 34 minute mark. So that gives you an idea of how early that is. It was a lot earlier than what Drakon did this game, but he was faster than Jon Snow. All right, well, there's the eco difference. Jon Snow actually collected more gold. It probably goes down to the fact that he was so heavy on gold and using the market a bit. Drakon did have access to more gold at that stage of the game at the end. Here's the uptimes as well. And there's the relic gold. Jon Snow actually had the relics earlier, but again, Drakon for late game was set up for success. Okay, well, these guys are not giving me time to talk about the games because they started the next one already. Not wasting any time here, so I will change the scores. It is 2-1.